49ers coming off an ugly loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, still 3-1, heading to the Rams. Short week, face the 3-1 Los Angeles Rams. Who's even going to start at quarterback? All that and more on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you as always at BD Peacock at Coach Crocky. Thanks everybody for checking in and hanging out with us. Love our everydayers that have been with us all season long. They were with us all off season long, and we're a month into this thing, so it's time to check in with our guy Nick Winkler on this Winky Wednesday episode. You can find Nick on Twitter at Bay Area Wink, or you can say hi to any of us on the YouTube comments and make sure you're all subscribed up while you're there. It's a really interesting time for the San Francisco 49ers, who got off to a hot start, were able to bank some wins early. And Wink, for those folks who don't know, you're the voice of the fan. So what you say about the 49ers, you speak for everyone in the entire 49ers fan base. So this is important what you're about to say about these San Francisco 49ers. And for those folks who don't know, Nicholas Winkler, my former radio colleague, and we used to do a podcast that predated Locked On 49ers. And actually, we got to bring your sounder up too, Wink, but I want to hear your report from Levi's Stadium, where you were on Sunday as well. So let's officially bring on today's guest.
Nicholas Winkler, come on down.
Can't believe it.
So, Wink, tell me, set the scene for me. Jaguars 49ers on Sunday.
Yeah, so big shout out to Jess and Diego. They gave me a last minute, like, hey, we got an extra ticket. Do you want to come to the game? Wife's sitting next to me. She gives me the thumbs up. So, once it's cleared with the boss, let's go. All right. So out there having a great time.
Hey, Wink, your wife's like, oh, okay, cool. We get to go to the game. And you're like, oh, no, it was just a ticket.
Yeah, it was one ticket. Well, my bad. I think you heard that wrong. No, so it's good times just out there with the fans. Energy was high. People were really excited. Brock was back, right? So everybody's like, yeah, Brock's back, this and that. And then the game gets started, right? And it's like, okay, good flow. Ooh, and then the fumble, right? And you can kind of feel the air come out because you're a better football team than the Jaguars. Like, you just know it. You feel it in your bones. And so, that's how you lose football games, right? Is you lose football games with turnovers. So then that happens, right? And then it's like, okay, we can overcome that. All right. And then the tip ball for the interception, you're like, oh, God, oh, no, here we go. At one point on that last interception by Purdy, people around me are yelling for Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Like, I get it. People overreact, but there was a lot of it. Like, Mac Jones, like, bring him back. And it's like, that quick, really? That to me, I wasn't on board with that because Brock Purdy's still the man. I still love Brock Purdy. He didn't play his best game. Both interceptions were tipped. Like, come on. The fumble was a strip sack. Like, these weren't necessarily Brock's fault. They're all on him, and he'll take accountability and responsibility for every single one of them. But is Mac Jones going to play a lot differently than that? Is he going to play a lot better than that? So that was hard. That was also another point that was really hard, too, was the interception, right, by Stout. That place just erupted because it felt like it was a powder keg, right? It's like, it's going to explode soon. And then that happened, and it did. And then the penalty. And it was just like the air went out of that stadium, man. That to me was like the big turning point in the game. It was a rough one to be at for sure.
Two things there. One, and they talk about this a lot, the backup quarterback is always like the most popular. So when the starter starts to kind of have some hiccups, there's a lot of people, if there's any type of faith in the backup, which more times than not, there's not that kind of faith. But, Mac Jones went out there and 49ers saw him, or 49ers fans saw him win a couple games. And now I was like, oh, Brock, he can do it. Mac Jones, he can do it. Mac Jones can do it. So now you kind of get some of those rumblings. But we know, even with Mac Jones out there, he can't really move. So I don't know how much the 49ers would have benefited with him being behind center if the offensive line wasn't playing at the level that they played in week 2 and week 3. And the other thing, I have this saying that everybody hates defensive backs. And I believe they do.
Yeah, I do. Imagine having to talk to one every day.
Everybody, I am shocked at people saying that was not a flag.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying when we talked about, when we brought it up, I'm like, I can see it kind of going both ways.
Right.
But typically, like if the roles were reversed and that was a Jaguar and they picked that off and they didn't call anything and people see that tug,
100%.
Oh, 49er fans would,
he tugged him. He tugged him.
Oh yeah, he tugged him, like they'd be livid. So I saw it both ways. It was one of those where I could see it to where if they called it or if they didn't call it, like, okay, they didn't think it was enough of a tug, or they thought that was just enough, and they obviously did. But to go to social media and see the overwhelming support for Stout, and maybe that's just because it's 49er fans, but
yeah,
it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see a defensive back be defended by someone other than Eric Crocker.
Yeah, and for Stout, it's a really interesting season because he's a rookie. Teams are clearly, throwing in his direction, especially early on in the season. And, and it hasn't always been amazing for him, and he's given up some plays, but he's also made some plays. And I love seeing how quickly he's started to look like and act like a veteran player. Like it hasn't been too big for him. He hasn't been someone who's like, oh no, he's underwater and he's folding and teams are just lighting him up. And so that's been the most impressive thing I think about Upton Stout. And a lot of the 49ers rookies stepping up early in their career.
Yeah, being at the game, everybody was livid, obviously, when the flag came out, but they never showed the replay up on the board. And when they don't show the replay on the board, oh, okay. He definitely, that was a deserved flag.
It depends on the angle, because the first angle you see was the front side, which it looks just like a perfect, amazing play. And then when you see the angle from the back, where I assume the ref was, you see the tugging, you see the hand on it. And it was really clear, and it was probably easy for the ref to throw that flag. So whatever. It wasn't, there was a lot of things that contributed to. And by the way, I just heard on Tuesday morning, John Litch on KMBR, and he didn't like the call either. He kind of you rarely hear from the GM or the coach that throw the refs under the bus, but he was not happy about that call either, as a former defensive back. But the Purdy stuff that you mentioned is like, it was like, it's all true. Purdy didn't play his best ball, but he's also hurt, and he also offensive line played poorly, and he doesn't have his full complement of weapons. So it's everything all at once. And so those fans, and we called it, Croc, earlier on in the week. We were like, well, this is setting up perfectly for an injured Brock Purdy to not look 100%. And then everyone's going to call for the backup in Mac Jones and say Mac Jones is better. Like, you could see it coming even before it happened. So I'm not surprised people were saying that. But right now with Brock Purdy, the toe, you could tell the toe was bothering him. He wasn't 100%. He wasn't normal Brock Purdy out there. And lo and behold, unsurprisingly to everyone, his toe is hurting him now after the week. And so Purdy officially is questionable going into the short week 5 against the Los Angeles Rams. And if we see Mac Jones out there behind that same offensive line that can't run the football with fewer weapons on a short week, and he's got his own little injury going on with his PCL, he wasn't moving around great at the end of the last game that he played. I don't think it's going to look all that different. And so I just think the 49ers are in a really rough spot on a short week with all the injuries they have. Looks like a sprained PCL for Ricky Pearsall. Dominic Pooney's been dealing with a sprained PCL. Mac Jones is a sprained PCL. If Brock Purdy's toe is worse than it was last week on a short week, now questionable going into this week, is Mac Jones' knee a little bit better? And, so Kyle Shanahan and Brock himself, and look, Brock's a competitor. Yeah. And I think at some point, we've seen this a lot with Christian. We've talked this about for years with Christian McCaffrey too. It's like, Christian McCaffrey wants to be on the football field. You have to save him from himself as far as, his carries. Brock Purdy's the same. If Brock Purdy looks worse than he looked last week physically, you can't let him make the call if he wants to run out there. He's like, I'm good, coach, I can play. And you say, sit your ass on the pitch. We're going to play a different guy because you're not right. And we got to get you right if we're going to go anywhere this year. And so there needs to be some big boy conversations, and we'll see who actually gets out there and plays. But I think a lot of guys are going to not practice. You barely practice anyways on a short week, so you might get like a walkthrough. So I have no idea what to expect, who's even going to be out there, what the 49ers team is going to look like on a short week against the Los Angeles Rams.
And a huge game. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. This is a big game. This divisional matchup. This is one of your rivals. And this is one of those games where when you look at it before the season, especially coming off of this Jacksonville game, I wrote that off as like, okay, that's not a bad loss, right? If you're going to have a loss in the season, out of division, out of conference, okay, that's actually termed kind of a good loss. Thursday night would not be a good loss. It would be an understandable loss with all of the injuries and everything that the 49ers have right now. But that being said, like, as a 49er fan, this is one of the last games you want to lose.
In the division that you're probably going to be competing for a division title with, both you guys are coming into this week, and it's always tough on the road, short week Thursday night, and how banged up the 49ers are with their top two quarterbacks, and anybody that those quarterbacks would be throwing to is a little bit rough. Let's look a little bit more about this Rams game after we take one last look back at the Jaguars and the Wink Watch. And I've been waiting to talk about the special teams, which was yikes in its own right on Sunday for the 49ers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Footwork, breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every model. And you're talking about Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. I've been a Mazda CX-5 owner for 10 years. And I was blown away the first time I sat in a Mazda. I wasn't even expecting to buy a Mazda until I sat in one and drove one. And it was just in another class compared to other vehicles. And it drives phenomenal. It handles phenomenal. It just feels different, looks different. Sitting inside is the best driving experience around. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. You want to head up to Tahoe? Yeah. The traffic control gives you a thumbs up, says, I see the all-wheel drive. You go ahead while these other goofballs are on the side of the road putting chains on their tires, right? That's worth it all right there. So like the players on the field, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. NFL season is rolling along on the week 5 already. We're a month into the season, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss, because right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Not just NFL games, even though there's lines all the way through week 18 already. Tons of player props, live in-game betting, parlays, baseball playoffs, you name it. You can find it on FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com. I don't know how long this $300 in bonus bets is going to be available. So right now, go to FanDuel.com, download the FanDuel app today, and get started. Okay, Wink, lay it on us. The Wink Watch, we've just stopped naming it after players, because who knows who's going to be here kicking, snapping, holding, punting for the San Francisco 49ers. And early returns on the new special teams unit, top to bottom, new special teams coordinator. Looks a lot like the old special teams, Wink. What did you see out there on Sunday live in person?
I was going to say, new game, a lot like the old game, right? I mean, It's one of those things, man, where that was the difference in the football game, right? I mean, you're talking about a punt return for a touchdown late in the game. Defense was playing extremely well. Defense gave up 2 touchdowns early, but both came off of turnovers. And then after that second half, they were stout. And the only touchdown they scored in that second half was on that punt. And maybe Morstead outpunted his coverage. Maybe it was just terrible coverage. I mean, whatever it was, it wasn't good. And 49er fans are tired of seeing it. We're not seeing it on our side, right? We're not getting any returns. And it seems like, last couple of years, we've been giving up a lot of returns. So it's extremely frustrating. I mean, very nice. There's some bright spots, right? With the special teams. Pinheiro has been great. It's been really nice to see a field goal kicker come out and make his kicks. But what you don't want to see are 23-yard field goals, 26-yard field goals, the 2 that he made in this game, right? That means the offense is getting there, and then they're stalling. And if either of those are touchdowns, we have a very different football game, right? So to me, special teams is still a huge question mark. Nothing has been solved, right? Maybe the kicker thing, yes. Maybe Pinheiro is the answer going forward, but with Morstead, it's like he's not putting ball inside the 20 as much as my boy Wishnowski was. And with the kickoff coverage and punt coverage, it's looking lackluster. I'm not a fan.
Hey, can I just say, though, score one for the old guys? I was like, wait a second, who's number 7? Old Morstead, the punter, actually showed some wheels.
He showed some.
I saw that.
Is he gonna run down this return, man? I was like,
but
whoa.
No.
Okay.
But they were like keeping pace with each other.
So give him credit for that.
Because that's what happens. Guys that aren't used to opening up, and all of a sudden you're trying to keep up with the Ferrari, which again, I thought he ran very well, but that's when the hamstring injuries happen. The next thing you know, you don't have a guy for kickoff.
Yeah.
And it's never good, even if your punter's fast, that he's running the wrong direction, chasing after a return guy. And how about this, guys? On the other side, and you kind of hit on it there, Wink. Like, when's the last time you I don't even expect that the 49ers could return a ball, even across. Like, if there's a big return for 49ers, like, whoa, I didn't expect that at all. You never even think that it could happen for a 49ers team. That's kind of I don't know if it's an organizational philosophy that haven't put enough resources or attention into who's returning kicks for the 49ers, but I can't remember the last time where it was like, you got to go back to Ted Ginn, where you thought, something could potentially happen on special teams. Like, I maybe I shouldn't go pee right now because something could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking it up right now because I want to see when was the last punt return? When was the last touchdown? It might be Ted Ginn, but those were exciting days. And the 49ers, they tried, right? They went and got Sky Moore because he returned a kick for a touchdown in the preseason. They're like, okay, let's go get this guy. He can get it done.
Yeah, I don't know if I consider that trying too hard, but at least they didn't do nothing. That's true.
Yeah.
I think DJ Reed. As
Did
far as returns, he ran one back against the Detroit Lions some years back. I think it might have been Jimmy Garoppolo's first home game in the second year, where he nearly lost that game by throwing what looked like almost a pick six.
The last kick return for a touchdown was Richie James back in 2018.
Richie James. Okay.
2018, guys.
Yeah. Against who?
It was against Seattle.
Okay.
So did they have 2 that year potentially then? Because that was the same year, 2018, and then Garoppolo got hurt the next week at Kansas City, right?
Oh, I think you're right. Let me look up punt return here. Let's take a look.
I felt like it was a kickoff return by.
That was a kick for James.
I think DJ Reed did kickoffs and not punts too, so it would have to be a kickoff return, if I'm not mistaken.
This one just keeps showing me that.
It's for sure been too long because we got to go back to at least 2018 and beyond. So
that's terrible. That is 7 years ago.
Yeah, and
I think it was Bowden too. Remember Bowden out of Oregon State? He ran one back in the preseason. But he was.
Yeah. Did he even make?
Was going to be a dynamic returner.
Yeah. Did he make the team or did he get cut?
He made the team. We believe he made the team because of that.
Yeah, but then he was gone quickly. He got cut again
by the next year or so.
Oh, so he spent the full year. For some reason, I thought he didn't even make it through his first full season with the Niners. Victor Bolden, Oregon State.
Yeah, Victor Bolden.
Yeah. Special teams. A lot like the old special teams. I do have a lot more confidence though in Eddie Pinheiro when he's lining up to kick, and so that's at least one positive for the San Francisco 49ers. But it was a whole lot of bad for the Niners against the Jaguars. There were special teams, it was lines, it was everything. One more
Hold
thing.
On, last punt return, just found it. It was Ted Ginn, and it was in 2014 against the Cardinals.
Okay, 2014. So over 10 years for a punt, and 8 years for a 7-8 years for a kickoff. So there you go. The defense was really good, and I think it's hilarious because of how the sign stealing thing with Saleh and Liam Cohen and the dumb stuff after the game. But during the game, they were actually having that battle. And I think in a lot of ways, Robert Saleh was winning that battle because there was 3 delay of games and almost some other delay of games from the offense when they were trying to do the checks. And so Robert Saleh's defense actually came up pretty big. You would have liked to see Fred Warner pull in those potential interceptions. He got his hands on, especially one of those. And you would like to maybe see the ref keep the flag in his pocket and the Niners get their first interception in 12 games. But and Fred Warner alluded to this after the game. He talked about how they got started too slow and they weren't that good right away, but the defense really got good in the second half of that game. And if there's anything you want to point to for the 49ers losing the game, I think if Robert Saleh is the last guy you got to point to, because they kind of figured things out on that side of the ball. They were just, in hole already, and they had to play too much defense because the 49ers offense kept giving it back to the Jaguars offense.
I also want to give a shout out to me and the 40,000 plus other people that were there. We're going to take credit for those delay of games because we were very loud.
Yes, it was half Saleh, half Winkler, and the crew in the stands at Levi's Stadium. How did the Jaguars travel? Jaguars fans. Was there a lot of?
There may be 10.
In the in of 40,000. Okay, yeah.
Like you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. And they were very quiet.
I think
for most of the game.
I think that's why Jaguars fans are the way they are. There's been some weird stuff in on my Twitter mentions, and I don't care at all. I don't get wrapped up in the fan side of things, but they are really excited for this win, and you can see why they might feel that way because they're mostly irrelevant.
I mean, they're 3-1, right? But I'll be honest, I saw more Patrick Mahomes jerseys than I did Jaguar jerseys.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know. I'm going to leave that right there. I don't know what to say about that because
it was baffling how many Mahomes jerseys there were at this game. We're just looking at each other like, another Mahomes? What?
Why though? Why are there so many Mahomes uniforms?
Why? It makes no sense.
Know.
There's no connection.
I mean, the kids love Patrick Mahomes. If you're,
these weren't kids; these were grown men.
Oh well, then I can't help you because I was going to say, when I was in elementary school, it was it wouldn't be shocking, no matter where you lived in the country, for someone to be wearing, Michael Jordan 23 jersey, right?
Grown men wearing Patrick Mahomes jerseys to a game that has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know, man.
All right, let's talk a little bit. Go ahead, Croc.
Real quick. By the way, I went and searched up that Detroit Lions game. Okay, what was I thinking about with the return? DJ Reed did have a big return, 90 yards, but he did not score.
Oh, okay.
90-yard return, did not score.
I'll take a 90-yard return with no score. Yes, please.
Ooh, just get across the midfield. I'd be shocked by that. Just about
anything.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit more Rams, what the 49ers have to do here, and who we think that the 49ers should even play with a whole bunch of PCLs, injuries, and talk a little bit about the 49ers offensive line, too, next. This episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts, let alone what's inside of them and what they're worth. So whether it's 401ks, properties, investments, when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. And Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And Monarch makes it simple to review finances with your partner. So you can both see budgets, goals, and spending activity all in one place. Super simple. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNFL. And look, I got to talk a little bit more about my Doer jeans. I've been reaching for my new favorite pants almost every day. My Doer jeans, the performance denim, they fit phenomenally. They feel great. They look great. I've got a couple of shirts. I got another pair of pants that they got me fitted up with over at the new store in San Francisco in Hayes Valley. More on that. But I want to talk about my guy Croc, who's admittedly not a big jeans wearing guy. But why does someone like Eric Crocker, who's an athlete, right? And he likes athletic wear. Well, why do Doer jeans work for Eric Crocker? Well, it's because Doer combines classic jeans wear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. It's the best of both worlds. Doer are pioneers blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim, and they feel phenomenal. They look fantastic for wherever you are going to get into during your day. They're the world's most comfortable pants. And Doer just opened that store right here in Hayes Valley in San Francisco. So you can feel the difference for yourself. Go check them out firsthand. 567 Hayes Street. Mention our promo code in-store, Locked On SF, to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at Shop Doer. That's DUER. ShopDoer.com/LockedOnSF for 15% off. That's ShopDoer.com/LockedOnSF. So when it comes to the 49ers offensive line, clearly the 49ers aren't running the ball well. John Lynch did talk about that as well on KMBR Tuesday morning. And you can tell he didn't have a great answer for it, but he said teams are really good scheme-wise against us right now, basically is what he said. I think there's a lot going on there. Teams know what the 49ers scheme is, and so they're and a lot of teams are running a similar stuff around the NFL. The Shanahan-McVay tree is everywhere. Liam Cohen is one of them, right? He's from the McVay tree of things. And so I think teams know how to try to defend that style of run game. We've asked the question, Christian McCaffrey kind of lost a step. Where's he at physically? He still makes cuts. He still runs hard. I don't think that's everything. I think maybe that's more about, ripping off bigger runs. But 48 of his 49 rushing yards, guys, were after contact last week. He had one free yard on Sunday before he was hit by a defender. That's not great. And that points to the offensive line. Trent Williams hasn't been his normal self. Dominic Pooney's got a sprained MCL that he's playing on. He hasn't been as good as he was last year. Colton McKivitz is the number 2 graded offensive tackle at PFF through a month of the season, guys. And so he's been like the solid guy out there. You've already got your replacement rookie left guard, and Connor Colby's even banged up a little bit. Jake Brendel, favorite whipping boy of 49ers fans. He's had some rough reps as well. So basically you've got one of 5 guys playing at a really good clip right now. Colton McKivitz, the number 1 graded pass blocker at PFF, and the number 2 total offensive tackle. Is it right tackle or offensive tackle after only Penei Sewell? So at least Colton McKivitz is playing pretty well, but again, better in the pass game than the run game. The other 4 guys right now are not playing at a high level, and I think that's a big problem. And the Rams have a young, hungry defensive line, and that's going to be a theme all season that's going to hurt the passing game and the running game if the offensive line is not playing well. And I know Crockett talked about this in the offseason. It was like, did they address the offensive line enough? Is there enough talent on that line now and developing into the future? And I think right now the answer is clearly no. And we might have seen like how much is someone like Trent Williams propping up the rest of the offensive line? You can kind of lean on the guy next to you and make the guy next to you a little bit better. By the way, no George Kittle as well. Absolutely hurts the run game. In fact, let me go to Jeff Deeney, PFF analyst. Since 2024, when George Kittle is on the field, the 49ers are rushing the ball at a 4.9 yards per carry clip. When there's no George Kittle on the field, it drops to 3.3 yards per carry, which is essentially where the 49ers are right now. So maybe it's just a factor of no George Kittle more than anything else going on. But clearly the 49ers subpar running the football right now. And I think most of it is up front.
I think a lot of our offseason talk was assuming that Trent Williams would look like Trent Williams. Yeah. And we knew at some point he may not look like Trent Williams, and we didn't quite know what that was. Kind of been waiting on that. But that was a guy that they ran behind and had a lot of success running behind in games. So if you're telling me that, well, Trent Williams now is kind of, I don't want to call him a liability, but he's not all pro Trent Williams. He's not top 3 offensive tackle Trent Williams. Then you have an issue on your hands. And right now, I believe the running backs, which the 49ers have only had 2 backs have carries, is been Brian Robinson and Christian McCaffrey. They're averaging together like 3.7 yards per carry or 3.8 yards per carry. And Brian Robinson's kind of helping that because he's averaging over 4 yards per carry. Christian McCaffrey, obviously, maybe the lowest average of his career. So the 49ers definitely have an issue on their hands. And I think a lot of people will talk about the offensive line not quite being addressed. But I think it's more so about certain guys maybe not being what you hope they would be. And it's a big part of that is Dominique Purdy and Trent Williams. I think that's the issue. If they were just what you were hoping they would be heading into the season, right? Which, of course, Dominique Purdy, man, he's going to take that big jump going into the next year. Trent Williams, like, even if he drops down a little bit, he's still this great offensive tackle. But it's like, he's dropped down a lot further than you ideally would like. And Dominique Purdy, he's banged up, so he's not himself. I think that right there alone has made it extremely difficult for the 49ers to have any type of success running the ball.
Yeah, and that mixed with the George Kittle thing, right? That's not what the 49ers expected that front line to look like when they're trying to run the football. So you got to ask yourself, when are they going to switch things up, right? When you don't have that same line that you were expecting and you don't have George Kittle, you can't keep running those same plays, right? So maybe you figure out a way to get McCaffrey and Robinson on the field at the same time, right? I mean, you got to do something.
I would love that look because clearly the biggest impact Christian McCaffrey's had is catching the football right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So how do you try to throw a different wrinkle, a different look out there? I think one of our listeners asked us that very question, and my initial response is, well, when will we see something like crazy and innovative and out of the box? Well, probably once Mike McDaniel gets fired and brought back.
He comes back.
That was kind of the catalyst for the Debo wideback stuff in the first place. Like get Mike McDaniels in the lab and let him kind of do his thing. As of right now, it's just kind of been a lot of the same the first few weeks. Just maybe even give a couple touches to Garendo out of the backfield with some speed. The 49ers look slow on offense. And so and on a short week, continuity is big too, because Trent Williams doesn't practice on Wednesdays and hasn't practiced a lot through camp and, just veteran days off. And then you get a rookie left guard in there. And then continuity throughout the team. Who are the quarterbacks throwing to at wide receivers that are always hurt? Who's blocking for them? And so continuity has been a big problem, I think, for the 49ers.
Yeah, and I think also you mentioned wide receivers, right? I mean, you've had Juwan Jennings, who isn't scaring anybody right now because he's injured. And all they need to do is take away Pearsall. And who else do the 49ers have? So you just bring everybody up and stop the run game.
You know who they have? Big revenge game. It's time for
Marcus
Robinson show against the Los Angeles Rams. He's the healthiest and probably best healthy receiver the 49ers are going to have on a short week. Not a lot of wear and tear on him through the first part of the season with the suspension. And I was already kind of shocked that Kendrick Bourne was getting snaps ahead of DeMarcus Robinson after he returned from suspension. Maybe that was because he couldn't practice a lot, but man, he had a better rapport, I would imagine, than Kendrick Bourne throughout the entire offseason of practicing and looked good in camp. So DeMarcus Robinson might have to step up and be the number one weapon on the 49ers offense against the Rams in week 5.
Whatever it takes.
We'll see how it goes. You got a prediction for us, Wink?
Oh, man. I want to say win, obviously. Yeah. Come on. This is a huge game. But all the cards are stacked against us right now, man.
I guess we'll ask you later in the week once we even know who's going to be playing and who's going to be on the field for the 49ers.
I don't know who my quarterback is.
Yeah, so that's a tough one right now. Of course, Croc and I will have it broken down for you further. We got a little crossover before the Thursday nighter, and then we'll be with you post-game as well to break it all down. So stay tuned here. Make sure you're all subscribed up, and Croc and I back tomorrow right here. Locked On 49ers.
See you.
Wow. Can't believe it.